Welcome to the intersection of Black culture and horticulture with your girl, Cola B talking. And guess what, y'all? We Black in the garden. From WABE Studios, welcome to Black in the Garden, the intersection of Black culture and horticulture. I'm your host, Cola B Talkin', and I'm excited today to get into this subject that I've been looking forward to exploring with you all, connecting beer with Black culture and agriculture in a way that is both intentional and impactful. With an innovative Black brewer leading the way, I cannot wait to dive into this conversation and explore how beer can be so much more than just a drink. It could be a powerful tool for connection and change. Now, here's a quick disclaimer. At Black in the Garden and WABE, we celebrate the rich culture of craft beer responsibly. We encourage our listeners to enjoy alcoholic beverages in moderation and always drink responsibly. Your safety and well-being are our top priorities. So cheers to good times and to great conversations. Let's raise a glass today, a mug, maybe your favorite goblet, to Ale Sharpton, a true pioneer in the craft beer game and the mastermind behind BrewGether.
Yes,
it's on the shirt. Get into it. Ale isn't just brewing beer, but he's brewing change. He's been shaking things up by blending urban agriculture with the craft beer scene, all while supporting farmers of color and building bridges that really matter. With BrewGether, Ale is toasting to a future where beer, equity, and sustainability go hand in hand. When we were having a meeting and talking about what we wanted to get out of this episode, the question came up about, do Black people really drink beer like that? Does that question come up for you often?
Well, yes, we do. I do hear that a lot. And I was always in a place where I'd be the only brother in a lot of drinking places where beer would be the main libation of choice. And I had no problem being that one brother.
Okay.
I've been in that position pretty much my whole life. And it's something that's always been a challenge that I've learned to accept and take on. But from the racial standpoint, yes, it's because it wasn't really marketed to us the right way.
Okay.
This goes back decades.
Okay.
And the history was kind of, I would say, subliminal and hidden in terms of really where beer really came from. And so I did research on that from a young age to learn what beer is really about and where it came from. And it is rooted from Africa, Sumerian times. And so a lot of people were brewing it, but it was especially women who were making this.
In the motherland, beer was being brewed by Black women, by African women.
Absolutely. Especially in Egypt. And there were times where they would have scriptures and the recipes written inside of walls of pyramids.
Oh my God.
And singing to Nakasi and goddesses and those kind of praises for those who did make this beer. And beer wasn't just to get you nice or seen as alcohol drink. It was more of something that was used with purity, pure kind of ingredients to kind of help. It was an enriching kind of beverage, but it was also one of praise and one of just celebration. And it was made with all natural ingredients. A lot of times beer was used to pay people to build pyramids because of its purity. And you have to use boiled water. So a lot of those times it purifies that drink.
I mean, I'm just mind blown already. Like, that was the first question I asked. Maybe the second question follow up, you know.
No.
So can you explain to us, like we're fifth graders, how beer is made?
It's a process where there are 4 prime ingredients that are used. There's hops, there's grains, that would be like barley, or you have oats in there and all those kind of things. So there's always some grains in there, and then water, and then yeast.
Okay.
And yeast kind of works as kind of it creates alcohol, but also creates the texture, and a lot of times influences the flavor. The hops, which is really an amazing. It's a flower, and it climbs walls. It's a climbing vine, and it's very temperamental. You can grow it only in certain regions that really do well. And it's a family of cannabis. So there's no THC in that. So please don't try and smoke it. But
Smoke hops?
Yes. I'm sure people have tried.
Yeah.
But the flavor profiles that hops delivers is just incredible. It influences not only bitterness, but also creates things of citrusy notes. Depends on the region and the style. So I keep mentioning cannabis, but in a way, it is very similar in terms of the different hybrids you have now. So brewers are mad scientists, and the people who create the hops, they really deserve a lot more credit, where they combine different seeds and different types of strains to create a whole different flavor profile, a smelling profile. Hops can be aromatic. It could be something that makes you smell the beer, but also could be a bittering agent, or also can make it citrusy, or can make things, it's just amazing. And then the oats, or the grains, or barleys, or whatever, the wheat, which are grown from the ground, of course. And these are things that are very primary in terms of texture, and influences color, and influences flavor. So you take those grains and you roast them, you get those stouts, you get those coffee, you get that chocolate. And then wheat kind of is like more lighter, but also just pillowy on the tongue. It's really amazing what you could do with all these things. So you think about that, and then the water, and then when you apply the yeast and what type of yeast strains you use, that creates an effervescence, or could make it completely a smooth beer. So you have these 4 ingredients, and you have all these adjuncts. It's just no telling what you can make.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there's the essential elements of beer, and depending on how you mix, and even when you mix, maybe temperatures, toasting, so many different things, like maybe even down to when it's picked.
Yes.
Instead of letting it get to a certain level of maturity, depending on all of those things, would come out with a different recipe, a different brew.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And you're really on point. We're in the season. We're going to the season where the harvest for hops is happening. So I'm actually going to fly to Washington and visit Yakima, which is one of the most important regions in the world in terms of growing hops. And there's a lot of rain, but there's also just that perfect temperature in terms of when it could really grow and produce. And Washington is one of those regions that are blessed with that. And so you're going to get that freshness, and it's to the point where as soon as they're harvest, they have breweries that demand that it be flown out to the breweries that day to get the freshest hop experience you can have during tasting, during aromatics, during all these different things. And I'm a hop head. So those are people who kind of love that bitterness and love just that smell when you open a beer and you're like, wow. And this is the hop season right now. So it's about to happen. I'm looking forward to going there. I've never explored Yakima, and I'm giddy about it.
Amazing. So tell us about BrewGether. How did that get started?
Definitely. I started my beer career after my first sip when I was 6, and that was my uncle just playing around thinking I would spit it out. But I've always been around different libations, but beer is just such a characteristic thing in terms of it can make any and emulate any flavor more than any other beverage. Chocolate beer, there's peanut butter beer, there's strawberry beer, there's all these. It's amazing what beer can do. And then the textures too is a whole nother thing. So anyway, my family is a lineage of chefs, so we're all into flavor. My great-grandfather was one of the first Black-owned catering companies in New York, honestly, coming from Jamaica. And so I was always around food and flavor. So beer was that one beverage. I was like, wow, I really want to get into this. Maybe I can cook with it or really write about it and explore it more. And then I realized the history of what beer was. And my family was all educators, so I wanted to teach. And when I moved to Atlanta, thank God, in 90, which was awesome, I said, I'm going to be a journalist and write. So I started writing about hip hop, but then I still had this passion for beer, so I merged the two.
Yes, we love those.
Hip hop has characters. Hip hop has pseudonyms. They have energy. They have art. They have all these different things. I said, why not bring that to the beer community and educate everyone, but especially my people, that beer was not invented what you think what the history is. So that became an opportunity to kind of fuse the two together. And then I started going more deeper into it. And people say you need to start tooting your own horn as far as saying you're the first really Black beer journalist. And to take it to that point, have your own stickers and your own marketing as a brand for yourself. And they said, you need to start owning that. So I will. So I came up with the name Ale Sharpton, A-L-E Sharpton. And I matched that with Al Sharpton's passion for civil rights, my passion for beer. And it just really worked. I love my alias. It's just something that fit. It let people know I was a brother, but also somebody who's very progressive in what they do. And eventually I got to the point where the popularity was there. And New Belgium, what is a major brewery. One of the founders was a woman. So they're
Did
progressive
not
already
know
in that part.
that.
So,
Look
oh
at
yeah, it's
that.
a lot of cool stuff. What I can, but also just what they did in terms of style. And so they asked me to, hey, we would love what you're doing with the Black community, especially, but also just DEI and just reaching out to everyone.
Mm.
Do you think you could be a consultant with us and help us be more progressive in those ways?
Look
So
at you.
they flew me out. It was a majestic day in Fort Collins, and we talked and negotiated. And as far as me being a consultant, I said, there's one other thing I'd love to do. Besides helping you diversify your drinking audience and reach out to more communities, I think there's something we need to do something on the nonprofit side. And they're like, okay, what would that be? And I said, maybe start some type of foundation or something that gives back to the farmers. Because there's a disparity.
That's
There's 1% Black owned
Oh, yeah.
breweries around the nation,
Oh,
and there's 1% Black owned farms. So making
Interesting.
that connection.
yeah. Interesting similarity.
Yeah, I know I went off on a tangent, but I wanted
No.
to kind of, I'm flowing here. So.
Well, no, it's actually not a tangent because that was literally the next thing I was going to ask
Okay.
is like, okay, let's get into the aspect of how the Black farmers and how the agriculture aspect came in.
I'm a nature person. I was part of a group called the Brothers by Nature, really young in Ithaca, and that's where I was born.
Mm.
So going through forests or going through farms, that was something that we did. And we were led by someone named Fee Nunn, who took a group of young men and learned how to be a part of the earth. Walking barefoot in the earth, music, everything. It was something that was always embedded in me. So taking that energy, but now realizing that beer cannot exist without farming. You can't get
Right.
your hops and your grains and all these other things without farms. And then my wife, Andrea, was always in a nonprofit. So she agreed to be a part of this BrewGether start, you know, and BrewGether, together, us working together, BrewGether.
Okay.
So she definitely helped take the lead on that. So she's the co-founder, and New Belgium was totally about it.
Yeah.
So they help support us, help give us grants, which we want to do, give grants to farms that are really need that. And so we're doing that on a regular basis. And we're also always looking for new funding, more funding beyond what New Belgium has blessed us with, but also just so we can reach more people. And what we do is volunteering. So we have it on our Instagram and we have it on our website, brewgether.org, and at BrewGether, where people reach out and it's coming together, and they're coming and we're doing like grains, we're planting, we're taking weeds out, and it's all communal. We're having fun, we're playing music. At the end, we might have a little sip of beer to take away from that thirst we generated during the
Naturally.
times we worked together. But yeah, it's hot out there, but it's also, we go through the fall months as well, and people just love to do it. And it's everybody working together, and you're doing something on earth. There's an energy that comes with you when you're going ahead and you're digging and you're taking a wheelbarrow and you're all working communally together. It's not just Black people. There's white people. There's people of Asian descent.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, they see it as us doing BrewGether together. The civil rights movement didn't happen by itself. It happened with a lot of other people besides us who are struggling with it. So not only the oppressed are the ones that make this change. We need everyone to help out. Togetherness, and the brew is the base of it. That's what kind of started it. I'm a marketing guy. I love design. I have a creative agency, so I have brought the bag just to show you a little bit.
Let's see the bag. Get to
So
the bag.
This is those cute bags that people go when they're at farmers markets.
Of course.
So that's the logo, and that little plant is actually a hop leaf.
If you can look it
a
up
hop.
close.
Yeah. So I brought this,
so
and this
cute.
is for you.
For
And
me.
then this is
Thank
the
you.
beer I made with them. So one of my consulting things, they said my ideas was to create a beer called Piano Keys. So
And I've tasted this at the Soil Festival. In
Yeah, one
case
of the
y'all are
last
paying
ones.
attention, we remember you were featured on the
it.
Soil Festival episode when we interviewed with
Absolutely.
you and your wife and Jen Price.
Yep, Jen
Yes,
Price.
shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
Jen
Crafted for
Price.
Action, who always
Look
comes
at this.
through. So yeah, we did the design, and that is yours. That's one of the last from that batch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to say I'm about to be brewing a whole nother batch for the winter. So, but that is made. Okay, another example of beer. This is a beautiful thing. This is made with organic chocolate.
Yes.
And it's flown in from Uganda. So one of my other things before making this beer called Piano Keys, and again, I'm getting so deep here, but Piano Keys, black and white working together, ebony, ivory, black, white.
Yeah.
So, and also chocolate vanilla. So it's a chocolate vanilla imperial stout.
That's
It's
it.
at 10%. And you will want to play the piano after sipping that, or you want to hear it
10%.
at least. Yes, but it's very sippable. It's it's great to share, but it's a great pairing beer. I do beer dinners where I pair food with beer, and that is chocolate vanilla. So that is yours.
Oh,
I didn't know if it was.
I'm sorry, I didn't. You said that's chocolate and vanilla. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to cut the tape.
There's a T-shirt in there for you that I'm wearing, and a
Yes.
sticker as well.
Okay, because I'm holding on to my
yeah,
stuff
absolutely.
now.
Don't
This
forget.
is my bag now.
Absolutely.
Thank you
No
so
doubt.
much.
My pleasure.
So, in supporting the Black farmers, one of the questions I would be remiss to not ask would be, are these Black farmers who you're working with in Atlanta specifically growing hops and beer-related crops?
Interesting. It wasn't a requirement for them to be growing beer ingredients, although pretty much everything could be a beer ingredient. But they're growing
Right.
everything from peppers to watermelon to just so many different things. I mean, they even have flower beds and stuff like that. But it's just more being in touch with the earth and helping them out,
Okay.
so that they can harvest and do those things that are ready for the fall that's coming up, but also the
Gotcha.
summers as well. So yeah, but growing hops is very difficult here in Atlanta because of its. But we've worked with in Asheville. We've been there, and now we're spreading to work with other farms in other cities as well. So I always have a list of different people. Eco Paradigm we work with, Polyculture Productions, Iron Lion Farms in Athens, Southside Community Farms in Asheville, A Sip of Paradise Garden, Umi Feeds, Think Green,
Oh, I love
and
Umi.
Soil Fest, which is always something. Isn't that a good
Oh my
time?
God. I've met you at
And
Soul
Food
Fest
Well
like
Alliance.
3 times.
Yes.
So, home brewing, is that something that you practice?
I'm not brave enough to.
Oh, really?
But also,
I'm surprised at that.
I live in a condo in Atlanta, so you need a little more space. You need
Okay.
a garage, so I leave that to the experts, such as Conzo, which uses a lot of African ingredients in their beer, and they teach. So beer is an educational tool. People who do not know, they'll say, "Oh, I don't like beer; it's bitter, or it's too." No, there's beers that taste like strawberry jam. There's beers that taste like peanut butter and jelly. There's beers that taste like in my
legit.
case, chocolate vanilla ice cream.
I've definitely had the chocolate stouts. I'm drawn to those.
see? Yeah.
Yeah. So the craft beer industry has been traditionally less diverse. So how do you see BrewGether contributing to changing that narrative, both in terms of industry participation and consumer awareness? You're doing a great job so far, but I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of people just starting to reach out because it's something new. And I'm a part of different organizations. One of them I'm proudly a part of is a National Black Brewers Association, which is started by a lot of Black beer owners around the nation that are coming together and either sharing grains or politics or helping find grants, finding financial support. It's something that's very dope that I'm a part of. And we definitely welcome people to join us.
Wow, I'm just super impressed.
I appreciate
So,
you.
yeah, of course. Tell us about some of your long-term goals for BrewGether and how you are envisioning the role of it shaping the future of like local urban agriculture and things like that.
Bringing awareness to those farms that need that help, and to encourage others who want to start a farm or be a part of it. This is how you do it, but also the beer side of it as well.
Yeah.
So we always have a lot of beers who might want to submit. Breweries who want to submit beers and stuff and kind of teach more about that. We do beer dinners where I pair stuff, and I work with great chefs, including Deborah Van Treese, who is fantastic. She's a Black-owned, a Black woman who has many restaurants and world-renowned.
Restaurateur.
So I do that with Crafted for Action, which is a whole nother initiative that is just really a fun convention that happens every
Jen.
year, and that's blown up. Yes, shout out to Jen and her team. So we are growing together. So then, again, together, BrewGether. And so it's just about support and finding out ways you can help. We don't have all the answers, but we do want to go into different cities and different communities throughout the nation and then eventually the world.
I see it. I totally see it. You said this is new. When you say new, what's new to you? Y'all have been doing this for less than 5 years?
Yeah, it's new to us, but also it's new to just something that is connecting farms and beer together and bringing awareness to that.
Okay.
And bringing awareness to the disparity of ownership and what's happening with farms. And our
Big
food
time.
needs to get better, y'all. So these are different things. When you're actually there and helping with these crops, you're like, I want some of this on my table. Instead of something you would just go ahead and get that's frozen or processed. You want that natural vibe to it.
Yeah.
And that's why, I think farming is very important, not just for beer, but for us to eat to live.
I want to get to the rapid fire because it's fun. So, Andre 3000 wants to join you for a pint. What do you think he would like to drink?
Definitely something from the earth that would be kind of floral, or something that would just really enlighten him, because he's all about learning, but he's also a teacher at the same time. So I'll probably pour him a piano keys.
I know that's right. Okay, well, invite me.
It's music oriented. You can add a flute to the piano. It would be good. Yeah.
Which hip hop album pairs perfectly with a smooth, rich stout?
You know, I do this thing where I sit with hip hop artists and I have them taste a beer, and then they tell me what they like, and that's always a fun thing. And a lot of times Biggie comes up because of I mean, his dark skin, but also he's very robust and just a big dude, and he's one of the best to ever do it. So I definitely would think about that. So maybe his second album, although everybody says his first one's the dopest one, but I think the second one is actually really dope as well.
So if you could brew a beer inspired by any hip hop song, what would the beer be called?
Oh, man. Ambitions of a Writer.
Oh, I love that. Okay. East or West Coast brews, which has the better craft beer scene?
Ooh, wee.
I'm about to start a little beef.
The one in the middle of them. No,
I would mention Fort Collins.
It really depends on just the atmosphere, because really it's unfair to say that, because beer is such a great vibe. But you're in Cali with the trees and the waves, and then over there in your Maine, Coachella as well. Literally a lot of times, but it's also a great atmosphere. So wherever it is that beer is served, that is the right beer, you're good.
If you could design a beer label based on a hip hop album cover, what album cover would it be?
Illmatic.
So, okay, here's a fun one. Who in hip hop do you think would be a secretly amazing brewmaster? And I want to answer this too, because I got one in my head right now.
Okay, let me hear yours first.
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah.
Because he's got, like, you know, you mentioned like there's a lot of mechanics and all of that.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's
so
right.
And he does that lyrically.
I think RZA would be dope, because you got to think of a producer who can make so many different things, from movies to screenplays to classic albums, and he did so much with so much talent with Wu-Tang that would be an amazing experience.
IPA or lager?
IPA.
Canned beer or bottled?
Canned.
Hazy or sour?
Hazy.
Beer in the fall? Favorite beer?
Piano keys.
Naturally. Dark or light?
I'm going light this time.
What if you were pairing it with a fresh garden salad?
Light.
I thought you were going to say that. Okay.
Saison. Framboise.
That's fancy stuff I don't know about. Okay. Draft beer or straight from the can?
Draft beer.
Favorite beer city in the U.S.?
It's starting to be Atlanta, honestly. San Diego's not too bad either.
Okay, we'll go with that. Barrel aged beer, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Okay. Locally sourced or exotic ingredients?
Both.
I like that answer. Malt from barley or wheat?
Barley.
Seasonal harvest brew or year-round classic?
Year-round classic.
Would you prefer to brew with herbs or fruits?
Herbs.
Excellent. Ale, why don't you tell us more about how we can keep up, support, find you? You mentioned your Instagram a lot. I'm excited to continue to engage, but what about those who haven't yet?
Absolutely. I appreciate the question. My website is alesharpton.com. My Instagram is real Ale Sharpton. That's ALE Sharpton. And then BrewGether, of course, is BrewGether, BrewGether.org. And on Instagram, it's BrewGether, straight up. And just holla. You know, I'll be putting something on there. Let me know what you want to do, and we can make moves together.
You said holler. Okay. Noted.
So Plant Fam, I want to go off the dome with this one. You know, such a great episode, but I've fallen short of this as well. And I think this is very important because, you know, sometimes we find ourselves stuck in our own comfort zones, clinging to what's familiar, even when it comes to something as simple as what we drink. For a lot of us, beer might seem like one of those things that, you know, really we associate with other cultures, maybe even something we've dismissed as not for us. But here's the thing. growth happens when we step outside our comfort zones and try something new. Just like diverse ingredients that go into craft brew, our lives become richer when we mix in new experiences. So I challenge you, yes, I'm talking to you, to be a disruptor today. Expand your palate, not just with what you drink, but in every aspect of your life. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side of that discomfort. It could be a new favorite beer, a fresh perspective, or even a connection that you never thought would be possible if you didn't step out of your own box. Because in this case, I guarantee that the grass is greener on the other side. And as always, plant more, worry less. Plant Zaddy out.
Well, Elle, it has been so inspiring to hear about your incredible work. BrewGether is amazing. Your dedication to fostering connections between farmers of color, the craft beer industry, and local communities is not just creating economic opportunities, but it's also driving much needed change in how we think about equity and sustainability. So we're looking forward to seeing how BrewGether continues to grow around the world, making a global impact. And thank you for joining us on Black in the Garden and for sharing your vision with me and with our soil cousins, our listeners.
Oh, man, absolutely. Please feel welcome to plant seeds with us. Much love, family.
Top of my head to the soles of my feet. Ay, yeah, black like the root of my hair. I'ma go what I eat in the garden where I be, yeah,
WABE.